Hello, everyone. It's Daryn Wood. I know it's been a while, but it wouldn't be me if I wasn't making some random ass piece of nerd content totally out of nowhere. But the thing that's been nerdy that I have been into the most for the last couple of years has been Dungeons and Dragons. So this is a new show where we're going to be talking about all things D&D. We're going to call it The Gift of Gab. And who better to gab with than my best friend in the entire world, which is Ali Haugen. Say hello.
Hey.
And so, yeah, basically it's going to be fun. It's going to be casual. And we're just going to talk about all the fun and not so fun things that happen in D&D. And our first topic, I think that I want to kick us off with, because I feel like everybody has something to say about this topic, is table pet peeves. So when you're playing D&D or a tabletop RPG with a table, what are some of the things that piss you off the most? For me, it's when someone commits to a bit even when it's a bad bit, and so we all just have to suffer at the hands of this horrible bit. Okay. You remember that one time we were playing we did a drop-in game in SoCal where you live for our friend's birthday. It was like the first time she ever played D&D, and there were two people there that somehow, some way had decided to do
the same bad bit.
Yes, the same bad. It was like, okay, one of them wanted to be, it was like kind of different, but it was the fucking same. One of them wanted to be like a PR manager that was always making everyone sign NDAs, or like, oh, we can't tell people, if you're going to do that, then you have to sign an NDA. So it was just like nonstop bringing that. But then someone else like hilariously also had like a paperwork bit, and you could tell that they were like mad at each other for having the same bit.
Yes.
But
and neither were exceptionally good or funny.
No. And it also wasn't working at the table. So I guess this is what I'm saying. When it's a bad bit, read the room.
The room.
Because we're all sitting there and we're all just like, oh, yeah. Oh, and then that's funny. And then it would happen again. We're like, oh, yeah, NDA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure, okay, yeah, no, I'll do it again. And then it's like, and then they were like fighting over the bit, and then like making us do it almost like in every social interaction, but like no one was enjoying it, and it was like grinding each social interaction to a halt. It was so fun. So committing to a bit that's a bad bit, pet peeve. What about, do you have any?
Yeah, that kind of, I feel like, ties into mine a little bit of, people that feel the need to hog the spotlight. My pet peeve is a greedy player.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, whether that's for Showtime main character syndrome, or just overly greedy for money or magic items. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, this is literally make-believe.
Yeah, it's like playing it like a video game, but in a bad way, where it's just kind of like loot, hoard all the items, and it's like, but try to like actually pretend like it's real life.
What I mean? Share. We were taught that in like elementary school.
Yeah,
it's more fun, especially playing D&D, which is such a collaborative game. Mm-hmm. You are truly playing on a team with a party of people that should be your teammates and friends, and when you're just so loot hungry or money hungry, and it just makes it all.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, like the table, it is supposed to be a collaborative. It's not supposed to be like who can get it first and who can race to the front and like amass like a dragon the most items possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I was playing at a table of spellcasters. All of us were spellcasters. I was playing a ranger, so, kind of spellcaster. And the DM was really good about giving us each very specific and tailored gifts to our character and class type, which is so
DMs,
sweet.
If you ever want to make your player super happy, just give them little gifts that are just for them.
Exactly. And so it was very clear. Yeah. Each time each character received an item, it was pretty apparent that was an item for them.
Tied to each background or class or whatever.
And one of our players, was one of that person that just had to loot everything immediately. So they were usually the one that discovered the gold first or the items first. Yeah. And in this scenario, they discovered a longbow, which, mind you, they're a full-blown spellcaster. I don't even think they could wield a longbow. So it was pretty apparent that this magic item was like meant as a gift for perhaps my ranger. And that character was like, sick, I'm going to keep this. And I guess just wanted it for resale value for more gold.
But what did they do with it? Like, what did they want with it?
I think they wanted to resell it. I think at this point, I don't think I ended up playing farther with them. I don't know what happened to the bow, but they, there were subtle mentions by myself and another player at the table that was like, oh, that seems like an appropriate gift for Ellie.
Oh, wow, a ranger. What a nice crossbow. That would be so great for Ellie to have. Mm-hmm. Did they at least get a gift themselves?
They did. Yeah. They had a gift in a previous
So they had the gift already, that they're specifically made tailored gift, and then they already...
Which is honestly the reason why I kind of assumed that the gift was meant for me / my ranger, is because I was the third player to... Well, I was a player that had not yet received a gift from the DM.
Yeah.
And 2 previous players had received very personalized, very thoughtful gifts, whether it was something they had mentioned out of game, an item that they had always been wanting to play with, or a item that just made sense for their character. And so that is why I assumed it was meant for me. And, just people that are super loot hungry and don't want to share.
Yeah, it also kind of breaks immersion a little bit. I don't know what it is, and this is me, this is a personal preference, anyone can do whatever they want, but I'm just saying, it's when you go into a room and immediately what everyone's first thing that they're doing is, I'm gonna open every box and I'm gonna investigate and I'm gonna find this, and what do I say, is there a weapon, is there a sword? I'm like, I mean, sure, you would do that, I guess. But it's just it's the doing it, and every time you get into every single room that just kind of gets old.
It's so much game time.
You're
in a warehouse. There's a million boxes in here.
Yes.
Really? You're going to go open all of these crates to see if there was any loot in any of these boxes when there's a bad guy in the other room that you're here to go fight? That's and
I guess that ultimately falls on the GM too, right? Because if the GM is all right, my table's a bunch of little loot goblins, and every single room they're going, if I don't give them something, they're gonna be like, oh no, there's nothing here. But it's and
I guess that is all of the players kind of set that vibe. So if the majority of the players at the table find that enjoyable, great. But when there's one man out, when there's one player that's I loot his pockets, I search the dead body, I open this box, what about this box over here? Nobody else is investigating? All right, all for me. And it's we're trying to move it along.
The best part is when they don't play a rogue and their intelligence is really low. And it's because I feel I've played with a player like that, and it's I don't know, not to make a generalization, but sometimes people who play things like video games will tend to play fighters.
Yes.
So it'll be a fighter with a not great investigation or intelligence, and they're constantly just I loot this, I do that, I try to steal this, I try to do that. It's well, you fail and what's that? You fail because you didn't build a character for looting. Or actually, what's better, someone who just does that because they're completely unaware, or someone who's just the fucking rogue, man. They're the rogue, and they're gonna get every little thing, find every little thing, investigation roll 35. I find everything. What would you prefer?
Honestly, I would rather let the rogue be a rogue.
Yeah,
if that's what,
fair.
I am at least aware that that's what that person signed up as, versus I would say that's my other pet peeve, is when it's very apparent we're all playing different characters and classes that have skills that are better in certain areas. And if I'm really high in charisma, why are you the one talking to everybody? Why are you the one doing every single talking interaction?
Yeah.
Let the face be the face. Let the rogue be the rogue.
Yeah.
Let the, if there's a wizard in the party, they're probably really good at investigation. So let people shine.
I agree and I disagree with that. I agree in that if we're still talking about the greedy players, right?
Yes, I think that's what I mean. I'm talking about the person who hogs every interaction
every
at
moment,
the table.
every spotlight, can't main character syndrome.
But it is fun to be bad. If that's where you're going.
No, what I'm saying is I think what adds a little zest, a little spice to the game, is when Other pet peeve. Can I finish a thought? We'll find out. So yeah, when someone's being greedy and wanting to hog every interaction, that's annoying. But I do think I like it when there's a little bit of purity. If you're the one who came up with the idea, you have to make the roll. If it's okay, I think we should talk to that person, and I have bad charisma, you got to talk to that person. And if you're bad at it, I kind of don't like when everybody gets to make a perception roll. Everybody gets to make this investigation roll. Like sometimes it is a little spicy when it's like, oh, okay, well then I look at this, weird thing. And it's like, if you don't find it, then it's like, well.
Yeah, then maybe in player, point it out to your friend as you would, I guess, in real life as well. Oh, hey, I'm going to go look over here. You're the only one looking over there. Yeah. You should make the perception check. If you don't see anything, but you already had that inkling that there might be something, phone a friend. Call your buddy over and be like, hey, so-and-so, you're way better at picking up clues than I am. Will you take a peek over here? But then that engages more of the role play option that you can kind of stay in character and navigate that scene. But I agree with you. Yeah. Everybody making perception checks at all times is...
And it's just like, whatever it's out there, we're going to find it. It's kind of like what it feels like, where it's kind of like, okay, we want to sneak up. Do we hear anything? And it's like, okay, well, if you're the one who's keeping an eye out, then it's like,
were you in fact paying attention?
Yeah, like, can you hear anything? And then it's like, well, I don't. It's like, well, then we don't know. Keep going. I kind of like that zest.
Yeah.
I think Matt Mercer does that a lot. I think in Critical Role, where it's like one person makes a roll if you're like looking for something or trying to perceive. And I do like that mechanic. Although, I don't know. Depends on the table.
Yeah.
Depends on the table. But for the most part, I like a little zest. Actually, okay, another pet peeve of mine, and I'm looking to the camera because this will be a direct attack on some of you, is bailing last minute. Yeah, if that's you, come get some. Come get some.
Although.
Don't? I saw you out of the corner of my eye, and I was just like, okay, it might be a pet peeve, but it doesn't mean I'm immune to producing the pet peeves. Okay?
I think we have both been guilty of the last minute bail. But,
all right.
But let's not make a habit out of it.
I'm a human being with flaws, okay? Yeah. I'm a multi-layered. I am a varied person. Okay, have I bailed last minute? Maybe. One time. Once or twice in my life, I've been guilty of that. But just as a practice, I fucking hate it. I actually fucking hate it when people bail last minute.
Yeah. Yeah, give me a heads up. You probably knew that you were going to have a thing.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to
We're adults. We have so many other things to fit into our weekly itineraries. 4 to
6 adults for one night for several hours is nigh impossible. Like I was playing with like Total Party Chill and stuff. We were trying to do a game with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 or 7 of us, and I made like a scheduler. So there's like all these helpful resources on the internet that you can use that like help schedule out, and everyone can pick their dates and they can pick their availabilities. I shit you not. One weekend in 6 months that worked for everyone involved. And I was just like, and so I was like, great. So if we are going to make it work, then we have to like, who can move this or whatever. So it's like, I know that's kind of the vibe going into things. And so if you know that there's a possibility that you might not be able to make that night, just like let people know. Let them know in advance. Yeah. Be like, hey, yeah, Monday works for me, but there's a possibility that I'm gonna have to like not be able to do that. I'll let you guys know by Sunday or Monday morning or whatever it is. Bailing last minute, dead to me. Dead to me. Truly dead to me.
A cardinal sin. I would also say another pet peeve is probably the Leroy Jenkins at the table. I think I'm using that reference correctly. I was never a WoW person. But yeah, the one that just...
Way to sound like a total boomer. You're like, is it perhaps...
Is that correct reference?
Leroy Jenkins?
Did I get it right? Is that what all the kids are saying?
Okay, we'll say it like Leroy Jenkins.
I don't know how he says it.
You're like, I know of the meme.
I don't know.
I don't actually... No, the meme.
I don't actually know how he says it.
Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's exactly it. Leroy Jenkins.
Okay, but it's pervasive enough that, wow, actually, shout out to whoever Leroy Jenkins is today and, you know, what you're doing. You made a meme so pervasive. People can use it as a reference without even knowing
The
what
actual
it is.
reference.
Slay.
Correct?
Slay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that it's
What do you mean by that?
just the person who charges in
Oh,
before
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like splitting the party. Like, I guess they didn't exactly split the party, but when they charge right in and then they're having a separate encounter or experience than the rest of the
Yeah.
people that are maybe around the corner. And
When they're like deciding what the party is going to do, forcing the hand of everybody else
Yes.
by making a decision that everyone has to abide to because they charged in.
exactly, because now they're in combat, and what are you supposed to do? Just be
Yeah.
like, well, actually, I'm going to continue to investigate for footprints over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if what about this? You
Yeah.
know, like
It's
you.
we're all gonna
that-
sneak in stealthily to try to gather some reconnaissance, and they're like, I go up to the guard and I slit his throat, and you're like,
Yes.
well, so now okay, so we're in a skirmish.
So I guess we're fighting now.
Actually didn't want to have to deal with a dead body. That's fine. No, okay, no, that's what we're doing. Sick.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. The wizard's out of spell slots.
Yeah.
You can keep going. You're a fucking fighter. Like.
Yeah. Oh no, but I'm great. My hit points are great, and you're like, great.
Cool.
And then they're like, and then it's like, unless you like want to watch them die, then you have to get involved. Which I guess if they were a particularly shitty player, I'm
You
sure
could.
somewhere. I mean, I'm sure we've heard on like D&D Court or something. There's someone they're like, yeah, we let that bitch die.
Yep. I actually think we did hear something like that.
Like they run ahead, and you know what? Consequences are consequences.
So sorry. Maybe you'll learn your lesson.
Yeah, that's annoying as fuck. Because it's also, oh my God, you know what that reminds me of? My friend and her husband were playing Baldur's Gate together, and he's never really done, like, he's not really into like D&D, TTRPGs and stuff, but she is. But then they're both like really into gaming, but he does more like shooters and like those kind of games and stuff. And so they started playing like Baldur's Gate co-op, which is like kind of clunky, kind of hard. You gotta basically go together. Like, it's not like you have to stay together as a party.
Oh, don't split the party.
Much like D&D.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was based on D&D.
Oh, it's annoying when the party is split? Uh-huh.
So she was like super excited to play it. I'm like, oh my gosh, have you started playing Baldur's Gate? How's it going? She's like, I'm going to fucking kill him. Like, she's like, I'm getting so annoyed because he's playing it like a normal video game. So I'll be over to this person being like, and then what did happen in the forest? And he's like, stab, 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 stab. And he's like, and then all of a sudden we have to kill everybody. Then we die. And it's like, no matter what I do, he just keeps getting into these, like, we have killed so many people, Daryn. And I was just like, did you know that, like, when you kill people in the game, that, like, it kind of cuts off storylines in that act? And she's like, are you fucking kidding? Like, she was so pissed, but she's just like, I don't think I can keep playing with it. I love him to death, but I cannot keep playing with him. It's driving me crazy. So that's that vibe that I think of, where it's just like forcing your hand to do something that you don't want to do.
Yeah. Another example of read the room.
Yeah.
Read the table vibe. Okay. Final pet peeve that I think is so disrespectful, and to both your table members and the DM, side conversations. Just it's okay to like quietly whisper one or two things to whoever's sitting next to you, but ongoing side conversations, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to whoever else's turn it is. You're missing whatever the DM is describing. It's just so rude.
Okay. I also have some pushback on this, but here's my thing. Okay, rebuttal, but not a rebuttal, because I agree. I think there is an art to side conversations, and
I would love to see where you're going with this.
okay, this is going to get really convoluted as well, and because I think there is also an art to talking in movies. Hear me out. Hear me out. When you play enough games or you watch enough movies, and you have to be able to actually know this, not just think you know this, to identify lulls. to identify lulls and like know when there's just going to be long stretches of no talking and nothing's happening. If you're watching a movie, right, and they're like, and you know the basic pacing and structure and movement of movies, they're doing a long sweeping landscape scene, probably not going to be a lot of dialogue in that moment, and that's for you to lean over to the person you're watching the movie with and you're like, do you think they're going to kill him? Really? I think she did it. Damn, crazy. That's your time to make your side come.
When the DM is changing the terrain. When
Yes.
there's setup going on. But I don't think that's a side conversation. I think that is fine. That is appropriate intervals to talk at the table.
Yeah.
Versus what I specifically mean, to clarify, is when you're in combat, you're all in combat, there's 5 people at the table and you just finished and the person next to you went right before you. So there's a little bit of time before either of your turns come up and you two start chatting. I think that's so rude. The DM is describing something.
Yeah.
Somebody else is progressing along in the combat. So now you don't even know what happens.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do, but I just think...
Or talking so loud that you're like, that's my... when your conversation becomes the dominant one.
Yeah.
That is like, that actually infuriates me. And that goes in the same camp of like being on your like phone and like not paying attention, making people have to like repeat stuff
Yes.
that's like already been said. Just like overall like not being engaged.
Exactly. I think that's
Not
more or
being
less
engaged.
kind of what I'm
But
getting
I
at.
will never stop the side ha-has.
I think that's
Impossible.
fine. I think it's see, the difference is you have excellent self-awareness. So you are good at tuning in when that's appropriate. And some people just are not.
But then how do you tell the people who don't have self-awareness
That's why
to
it should
be aware? So it's just the rule is no side conversations because some of you hosts can't be trusted.
Because I don't trust you to read the room.
Yeah.
So just shh.
Yeah, so just everyone, no one gets to talk. But the problem that, actually this came up literally when we were playing last week, is so I try to have side ha-has when in our long-standing home game that we play where her brother DMs for us, it just so happens that the way that our party is now, we have a lot of NPCs. So when he does NPC rolling, it's like 10 minutes of him just like calculating math and rolling for all these NPCs.
Rolling for the 8 skeletons.
Yeah, because he likes to just group them all together to like make it simpler. And so I'm like, perfect time for a side haha. So I'll start telling a side haha to like, fill the quiet times. But then Bradley gets excited by the side haha. And then he joins into the side haha. And I'm like, no, Bradley, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make this a total side tangent. He's like, well, you start talking about that show I'm watching. What am I supposed to do? Not participate? And I'm like, fair.
The story that distracts us all.
And then we're talking about something totally different.
I guess that's also okay, because still game time is still hangout time with your friends.
Yeah.
Ideally, you're all still friends, and even if you get off topic a little bit, it's still hang time.
Yeah.
So once another perfect point of read the room.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like perfect at reading the room. I guess I'm just perfect at it. Is that what you're saying?
Or you've just gotten lucky.
All right, I think that's it for this episode. I hope you guys liked our first epi of Gift of Gab, and join us next time.
Bye.